Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dry Pink Dialogue. Inter Miami goes out to Nashville SC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. 1-1 draw. I'm your host, Scotty. I'm here with my co-host, Saur. I have a feeling your instinct is to make a joke out of this, and I would encourage you not to because I know you so well. I think this is a moment and opportunity for everyone to express their frustration or if you have any optimistic thoughts, get them in the chat. Inter Miami is out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It is the thing that Inter Miami said from the moment they won the MLS Cup, this was their most important goal, and they get eliminated in their first round. I have thoughts. I just want to say this from the get-go. So you and I are big fans of Yannick Bright, and he gives up the goal with a bad defensive moment. And that's all I'm going to say on it because I don't think this two-game tie comes down to that one moment. And I have lots of thoughts on what it did come down to. But if you want to talk about it more, you're more than welcome to. And if the chat wants to talk about it more, it's more than fine. But I want to be clear. Like it was his bad moment. But I think that it is such a much bigger situation. And that's what I want to reflect on tonight. But before that, I will get to you, my friend. What do you think?
No, I would make a joke out of it. I probably still will, despite you telling me not to, because at the end of the day, that was a joke performance, and that's how I process my emotions. So that was the most dreadful 180 minutes of football I've watched ever. I don't think any of the teams deserve to go through eliminate the two of them. just eliminate them.
No, stop.
That
okay,
was
stop.
No, wait.
Congratulations to Nashville. Let's just start here. We do winners first, and that's my fault for forgetting. Congratulations, Nashville. This is something you have wanted for a very long time, and you got it. And now I wish you luck moving forward. And you got the big moment that Inter Miami couldn't really get throughout these 180 minutes. And because of that, you're going through, and I think you have a great chance to go beat Club America. So good luck. Congratulations. This is it's not about Nashville. So good luck moving forward. Okay. Sorry. I just want to make sure we make sure we give them their due, and then we can move on and talk about Inter Miami. Go ahead.
What do you want me to say now?
Okay. Can I go?
Sure.
This team set up to win this entire 180-minute tie 1-0 for 170 minutes, 65 minutes, until all of a sudden they realized 1-0 was not good enough, and that is 1,000% on Javier Mascherano. There was no chance you were ever going to get through Nashville with one goal. And the fact that you played both legs so conservatively was disgraceful when you have Lionel Messi on your team. Second, the fact that you are unable to bench Berterame or Tadeo Allende, who are not and Tadeo Allende had a fine game. I don't want to add him on this, but just a general point. The fact that you can't put them aside when you need to win the game is a problem. And third, there was a planned substitution at the 60th minute to take Telasco Segovia off and put Matteo Silvetti on. And I think that is the single decision that cost them this game, because all of a sudden they no longer controlled the midfield. They started turning the ball over, and they got tired. And fourth, this goes back into my first point. It is a very wet field, which means it is harder to run around on, and your guys' legs are going to get tired, which means you are not going to have any energy in the last 10 minutes of this game. And so for you to pretend like you can always just go get a last-minute goal and it will be fine is so stupid. It's so naive. And you had to go win this game in the first half. And the fact that they scored one goal the 7th minute or 6th minute, whenever it was, and then they just sat back and prayed for opportunities going forward, of which they missed because guess what? Berterame is not in form, and he had 2 or 3 shots that went straight at the keeper. And you end up getting eliminated because you have one bad moment defensively. In this entire series, you have one bad moment defensively, and you're going home. And so, yes, Yannick Bright deserves blame for that moment, But the fact that you put yourself at risk of going home because of one bad moment is absurd. You built a super team. You spent so much money. You maxed out everything you had. You gave up on all the players that could come in the World Cup for this tournament. And for you to play with this attitude, it's pathetic. And this was my biggest thing about Javier Mascherano last year, is that he doesn't understand what this job is, and that you are supposed to be aggressive at all times and crush everybody. And the fact that you thought 1-0 was going to get you through, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And he doesn't understand the big picture of this job. Like Sean says, Mascherano should be fired tonight. I don't understand how you can have such a diametrically opposed mindset for what a Lionel Messi team should be. You should score 5 goals on everyone, and you should prepare your team to score 5 goals on everyone. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not giving you an opportunity to talk. I meant every word of that. Berterame had another bad game. I think we're in trouble with him. I am worried about him now. And I'm sure he will have plenty of moments to work through it. But I think he's a failure of a signing. And that's unfair to him because he's only had 5 or 6 games, however many games they played so far. But the whole point was to help with this tournament. And it was always about an opportunity cost of what you were giving up with that DP slot. And by the way, the opportunity to add other pieces, right? Once they signed Berterame, they could no longer get another center back. They could no longer get another midfielder. They could have still gotten those pieces and saved their DP slot if they had waited till another time. But you give up all of that by going to get Berterame for this tournament. And I do feel bad, but that's what this was, and it's what it's been since the minute we signed him. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I don't even have my thoughts collected, so I don't know what to say. I just didn't think Inter Miami did anything to deserve a win. Even at 1-0, I thought we were very, very poor. The mindset of the team was pathetic.
It was the mindset, right? It wasn't that they didn't have quality. It was that they were just okay winning 1-0. I'm sorry. I'm trying
get
so
it out,
hard
man.
to
Get it out.
No, I'm
Get it
trying
out.
so hard to not.
I'm gonna wait for you to finish, man. I'm gonna wait for you to finish. Get it out.
I'm trying really hard to not say something I don't
Just enter
mean
the
long
chat.
term.
Just enter the chat. It's easier.
Okay. Tunde says you all were so confident in this team too. Shake my head. Can I just say, I remember in December we had a podcast. And I said I didn't think Mascherano had a good year, and I wouldn't necessarily call last year a success. I thought they were really bad in big moments, and they kind of just got hot at the end for the MLS Cup. And the big thing that I said was I think 2025 was the best year we were going to get under Messi. And if that was good enough for everyone, that's fine. And it was an MLS Cup year. I mean, it was a good year by any standard, but I did think that was the peak because of what they're doing with Mascherano. And so I thought Mascherano still wasn't doing a good job. And I think it is carried over into this year with the exact same problems we saw in tournaments last year. And if your team doesn't score 4 goals because you're not letting your team score 4 goals or because your striker's not in form or whatever it is, you're going to go home. And that's exactly what's happened every single time with Mascherano. They luck into a couple big wins, no doubt. But I think this was. I think if you told me Miami was going to lose to Nashville, this is exactly how we would have said it would have happened, and that is pretty frustrating. It's almost like everything we said was going to happen is what ended up, or what could happen is what ended up happening. Now, let me just say, Gonzalo Lujan, great job. I've been so harsh on you since you came here, and you've been great over these last 2 games. So. Kudos to you.
He might actually have been my man of the match if we'd gotten something out of this game. We predicted a win for Inter Miami. But let's be honest, that was more hope than anything else. I think the trend of this team has been downward since the start of the season. Like it's been bad. It's been bleak. And this was just a culmination of all of that. I genuinely thought that the team would do better. I don't even know how to analyze that in terms of tactics because nothing happened over 90 minutes. Inter Miami did nothing over 90 minutes except create that first opportunity for Berterame and then create an opportunity for Messi that led to a goal. And that's about it. That's all we did for 90 minutes. With your backs against the wall, this is the kind of performance you put in. This is the kind of tactics. Javier Mascherano lost us this game with his substitutions. We were in cruise control, and yes, you should give Nashville credit, or you won't. But they were utterly dismal, just as bad as Inter Miami. Like, this was a bad game of football overall. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it wasn't. And Nashville played a blind of a game. They played a game that went exactly their way, how they would have wanted it to go away from home. But it was a terrible watch. I genuinely sat there for 90 minutes thinking nothing's happened so far, except the scoreline being 1-0 because Messi scored a brilliant goal. And if that's what you want to do to win a tournament that's so prestigious to you, then I don't know what else I can predict out of this, because you're just hoping for luck. You take Telasco Segovia off, the one player who's letting you play out from the back and actually distributing the ball and spreading it out and letting you get on the counter. You completely kill the game there. You put Silvetti on. I didn't even realize Silvetti was on until the 85th minute. And that's not a knock on Silvetti. There's no patterns of play. There's no offensive creation. There's absolutely no identity in the way that we play. The fact that the kids put on a better show on Sunday and actually made us feel good about this team just goes to show how bad the quality of this side is. The performances individually, utterly shambolic. You can crucify Yannick Bright all you want. I will probably crucify him for the mistake. He was shot by that 70th minute. But that's the thing, right? Like you can't just blame him. The entire team was shambolic the entire time.
Here's the thing.
Yes,
Yannick Bright,
he led to a goal, but
Yannick Bright lost this game with a bad moment. There's no doubt about it. He will get the Heron that flew north tomorrow when we tour our awards. 100%. The fact that this tie was in a position where one terrible moment cost you the tie is the problem.
But that's not, it shouldn't have got to that point though,
that's
right?
My point.
Like it should not have got to that point. You're 1-0 up in the 10th minute. How do you sit back at home, just absorb, not even absorb pressure, nothing. You did nothing. You were paralyzed for 85 minutes after that. It was utterly shambolic. And yes, you should rightfully crucify Yannick Bright for it, but it should never have got to that moment. Like never. There's nothing anyone was doing to create anything. There was no patterns of play to think we were putting pressure on Nashville. They were as comfortable as we were. And the comfort was literally, if both sides had literally sat down on their knees for the entirety of the 90 minutes, this would have been the exact same game as watching them do whatever they did on the pitch for 90 minutes. But I'm not even surprised because this team has shown nothing to justify our confidence. And I feel like an idiot for thinking we could actually show up tonight and do something. I genuinely blame myself.
No, I
shouldn't have had that expectation.
Let me stop you. They 100% showed up for 7 minutes. And then as soon as they got the goal, they said, that's it.
Messi showed up for 7 minutes because that goal should not have gone in. There were 5 Nashville players surrounding him. Like, how the hell did he score from there?
No, but Allende had already gotten through and he put in an opportunity for Berterame. Like, I'm not saying it was good. But my point was they were pushing for the first 5-7 minutes. And then they get the goal and it's like, that would just kill the game. We're going to go kill 80 minutes of this game.
You know what? You know what Javier Mascherano did at the end? He put 5 attacking players across the same line of offense. With Allende, Silvetti, Suarez, Berterame, and Messi all playing across the same line. And when you put the ball in, the ball's coming into Silvetti's chest. He can potentially do something with it. But no, Allende is right in front of him. So he's going to take it away from him. Do we even talk about Allende's performance? Do we even talk about Berterame's? Well, he wasn't even on the pitch. Silvetti's performance? Suarez, well, he tried. At least he tried to do something.
I think
Luhan was the best player on the pitch. Can you believe that? In a knockout game against Nashville. Even Dane St. Clair was really good. Micaiah barges into him. Yannick Bright barges into him. What were you both doing there on the field in that goal?
I think the other thing that we're not paying enough attention to, and this is what really upsets me, because as a fan, you don't think about this until you start seeing it in the second half. But the guys were getting tired because it's raining.
They were.
And you have heavy legs. But as a coach, you should know that, and here's what I'm about to get to. Here's my point. You should know everyone's going to get heavy legs, which means you go win the game in the first 30 minutes. And then you just defend a 3-0 lead for the last 60 minutes. Don't put yourself in a position where you're one mistake away, because as you get more tired and as your legs get heavier, you're going to make it more likely that you make the one mistake that gives them the series. And that's exactly what happened. This is not a defensive Yannick Bright, but he should have come out of the game because he was exhausted. You could see in the play before, he gets beaten, he's jogging because he's exhausted. And you see at the end, when they need a goal, the only person that's running is Rodrigo de Paul. It's like they all have heavy legs. And the reason I'm saying this is because you should go kill the game in the first 30 minutes. And they didn't. They thought they were going to win the game with a 7th-minute goal and that they were just going to see out the rest of it. It's like, no, when the environment is like that, you have to be more aggressive so that you can end the game earlier.
And here's the thing, right? If this team actually had an identity of playing, an identity of pushing for that win, which, let's be honest, the playoff run showed some of that, but it's not been the identity under Javier Mascherano writ large. Like, the sample size suggests this team is very conservative and defensive. So when your backs are against the wall, when you're 1-1 and there's 25 minutes left, there's no sign of life in this team. It looked clueless. The last 10 minutes were genuinely circus. They did nothing. There was a point when Dane St. Clair got up to the halfway line and the ball was there for 30 seconds in his feet. Nobody was coming there to present themselves. Nobody was trying to push for the winner. There was literally no clue. And the thing is, cluelessness. That's my word of the game. They were clueless. They had no idea how they wanted to play this game in terms of creating something. And they've been clueless in terms of creating something. We had 9 shots. 9 shots, that's it. And
they had an idea. They had an idea, to their credit. Their idea was, we're going to score one early, and then we're going to sit back, and we're going to hit in the counter, and we're going to kill the game off with a couple. We're going to get 3 transition opportunities. We're going to score one of them, and we're going to end the game. And they had moments, but the problem is those moments landed at the feet of Germán Berterame, who cannot do anything for this team right now. And it's like...
You know what pisses me off even more?
He shouldn't have been in the starting lineup.
Dude, Nashville was there for the taking, man. They were there for the... Like, they were so bad.
They weren't good.
We hyped them up so... We could have decimated them tonight if we were on it. They were so bad. Like, to lose to that Nashville team is even worse, man. And they'll do great. Like, they may go far in this tournament. That's great. But on the night, they were bad. Like, they were there for the take. I would have excused this Inter Miami team losing to Nashville if Nashville was actually good and took the game to us.
So you just mentioned that the only time Miami's really looked good under Mascherano is the playoff run. And can I just remind you that Miami switched their entire tactics for 4 games in the playoffs, and it looked magical. And we haven't seen it again since. That Messi false 9 formation with Silvetti next to him and Tadeo Allende over the top. It was the most magic we've seen under Javier Mascherano. And we have not seen it one time this whole season. Pepto says Mascherano doesn't respect the midfield. He's absolutely right. The idea that you could take Talasco Segovia out of the midfield and replace him with Mateo Silvetti in this game, I think is actually the decision that cost him the game. That's the decision that cost him the game.
Absolutely.
Because it forces Yannick Bright to cover way more ground, and then he runs out of energy, and then he has heavy legs, and then he has the bad moment, and then you give up the goal, and you lose. And by the way, as all this is happening, everyone else is also getting tired, and you didn't need... Like, the thing about that sub that really upsets me is it was a planned 60-minute sub. It was a planned sub. The whole
He
time.
didn't
There was
even
no
need to
reading
come
of the
off. He
game.
was one of the best players on the pitch alongside Messi.
There
They
was
were the
no
only
reason
two
to bring
doing
him off.
anything.
And if you are going to bring him off, it should be for David Ajala, so you have an extra midfielder to help keep possession in the midfield and to shrink your opportunity for giving the ball away in the midfield and leading to another opportunity. If you go back and rewatch this game, and we will, their opportunities started coming fast as soon as Telasco Segovia comes off the field. They had 3 opportunities before the goal comes where, Hani Mukhtar misses one and one gets kicked out of bounds and Noah Allen has a nice play on one of them. Like they started creating the minute Telasco Segovia came off the field because we didn't have a midfield, and Pepto is absolutely right. The fact that Mascherano has done this in this type of game, because it's one thing to do it when you're losing and you need to create offense, but to do it in this game when you have a 1-0 lead, it's unforgivable. And again, the idea that sub wasn't for Berterame or for Allende or an attacker, it is ludicrous to me. It's such bad coaching, and it cost them the game.
You know what's worse? We're now gonna pretend like we care for the MLS season for the rest of the season, because this was what it was, man.
I'm not ready for this conversation. I'm not ready for that conversation.
Also, Sergio Reguilon is injured. He's probably out for another 6 weeks. So, where was Ian Frey? Dude, where was Ian Frey? Mura was offering nothing.
I will say, no.
Wait.
I will say, Facundo Mora in the first half was given the responsibility of cutting into the midfield when they pressed high. It is something I noticed. It was something I would have talked about, but obviously Nashville figured it out. They made halftime substitutions, and it became useless. I don't know why Ian Frey can't do that role. Like, I'm not suggesting that was a Mura thing, but I didn't think Mura had. Like, I thought Mura had a role in this game that he was doing, and it was working in the first half.
I 100% agree. But once we lost the Reguilon outlet on the left-hand side, all the impetus was on Mura's side. Like, we were creating everything on the right-hand side. There's a reason we didn't see Silvetti for at least 15 minutes until he was on the pitch. Like, after 15 minutes he was on the pitch was, I think, when he had his first touch. Everything was happening on the right-hand side. And when you're producing all your stuff from the right-hand side, you need better players on the ball. And Ian Frey would have definitely given you more going forward. At least put some crosses in. We had literally no crosses into Berterame, not one.
Today says, someone tell me why Mascherano switched to a 4-4-2 after everything we've seen in game this season when he makes the switch. It's a fireable offense. We've been talking about this, and it was so clearly going to bite them in the butt. And it's sad and it's unfortunate that it happens this early, but this has been the case since Mascherano's been here. And like we talked about this last year, the only way Miami was going to win is if Messi gets 2+ goal contributions in the important games. And like they rode Messi having a fantastic run to the MLS Cup, and that was great. But right now, Messi's not going to get 2+ goal contributions because he's not going to get any assists because no one that he would pass the ball to is going to score goals because Berterame is not going to score goals, and you're not going to get goals from Allende that frequently like you did in the playoffs. So it's like, of course you're not going to be able to do that. You have to create more offense from the whole team. I hate it so much.
Man, someone go to the beach in Spain and pick Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets up. We need them.
Yeah, come back and coach. Come back and be the coach. Sure, Jordi, you're more than welcome to come play if you want to, but like also be the coach. Just be the coach. Can I ask you a question? There's a lot of people saying Mascherano out. Is that back on the table? Not tonight, but like, are we back in like we can start talking about Mascherano as not an MLS Cup winning coach only, but as someone that's not doing a good job?
If these performances continue, which I don't expect them to change anytime soon because Javier Mascherano doesn't have a reason to change them anymore, then yeah, absolutely. 100%. The only reason it was on the table was because of an 8-game sample size. That's it. The only reason. Like 90% of Javier Mascherano's tenure has been this. The MLS Cup saved him.
No, he would have been fired if they lost to Nashville in the first round last year.
Of course. I hate being so reactionary, man, but they leave us
do
no
too.
choice. They leave
No,
us no choice.
if by the way, if this is, if you're listening to this and you're hoping for some silver linings, I apologize. I can't with this. Not tonight. Sean
Are
says,
you actually going to watch the game back? I can't put myself through that torture, man. I can't. I cannot.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Sean says Jorge should fire Mascherano tonight and sit at the press conference and say sorry to all of us.
He's not going to get fired, man. He's going to have the whole season. He's not going to get fired.
I agree, and here's what I'll say. Okay, now I'm ready to have the conversation. Lionel Messi's going to check out, and that's fine. I think that's fair. He's got a World Cup to prepare for, and by the way, so does Dane St. Clair and Rodrigo de Paul and is Venezuela eliminated?
No.
Maybe Ian Frey with Jamaica. I think they have qualifiers this week. Whoever's going to the World Cup, like that's going to be their new focus, and I totally respect that. I get that it's part of the game, and I think that's fair. So the next time Miami plays a serious game is going to be in the Leagues Cup, which is 6 months from now or 5 months from now. So silver lining, I think that means we can play more of the kids. And
oh, that's going to be so much fun. Like, I'm not even joking. That's going to be fun because we saw that on Sunday. It was so much fun. I'm not even being sarcastic here.
No, I'm not either. The downside is I think this may have been the last hurrah for Inter Miami, because you think about next year and it's a half season, and like I think we're going to be getting towards the end of Messi's time in Miami, and like they use so much of their resources right now to get this run going that they're not going to be in a position to build a roster of this quality next year, and so. Like they can always go on a run, and Messi's fantastic, and maybe they will win the Leagues Cup, or maybe they will win the Supporter Shield, or maybe even they'll win another MLS Cup. Like that's all fine, but they're never going to be in a position to cruise like they were last year, and like what they were trying to build this year. And I find it so repulsive that they wasted it with Javier Mascherano as the brain trust that was given responsibility for this, because I think he's failed, and everyone that said he was growing over the course of last year, I think we saw tonight that he hasn't grown at all. This is exactly what happened to Inter Miami last year in the CONCACAF Champions Cup in the early season. It's the same exact thing. And so I'm interested to see what his press conference, what the quotes are, because like I'm very interested in like what does the team do philosophically from here? Like what is their plan for this season now? Because this was it, and you lost in the first try. You scored one goal over two legs, and it's like you spent $15 million on a striker who hasn't scored a goal, and by the way, should have been benched today. Like I'm sorry, he should not have started this game. He provided nothing, and you got nothing out of him, and it was a waste of a spot. And it's like I wouldn't have started Luis Suarez in this game. That's not what I'm suggesting, but the amount of people last year that were talking about how bad Luis Suarez was and how impactful he was and how much of a black hole he was, it's like, it's worse. It's worse now. It is worse now. And again, the fact that they did false nine Messi with Silvetti up top and Allende, and they cruised through the playoffs, or at least 3/4 of the playoffs last year, and we haven't seen that again.
Nah, dude, we're not even deeping how bad it is.
No, I know.
Like, okay, here's the thing. I do want to put some things in context, right? First of all, Jorge Mas went on this entire soliloquy about how Inter Miami is going all out for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. We're going to exhaust all resources to get there. Great. Humility, man. The irony is we got knocked out in the first opportunity that we had in the tournament to do anything. First round of 16 out. Nothing to show for. No semifinals, no final. Like, you can't even take pride from the fact that we got close. Nothing.
To your point earlier, Nashville wasn't even good. It's not like you ran into a juggernaut. It's not like you ran into a buzzsaw.
No solace from this. Like, no solace from this tournament at all. Zero. Zip. Like, you can't justify it being Nashville was good, great, their attack was fantastic. Their attack that's been scoring 5 against Dallas scored 0 against us at their home and 1 against us at home. They weren't good. Yes, they got through. Congratulations. But every single finger has to be pointed at Inter Miami. You can't say, oh, we got far. We got to the semifinals, lost to a great Vancouver side. No, none of that. You lost at the first possible hurdle. Do you know how embarrassing that is after you spent all this money creating this massive roster and claiming that you're going all out for the CONCACAF Champions Cup? Done. This was probably the last opportunity you had with Messi to do that. Embarrassing. We had the start of the season against LAFC, got absolutely our bums handed to us. No identity, no style of play, 3-0. We as fans took it in and decided, okay, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if we progress in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Fine. Performance can be ignored away from home. We've been making so many excuses for this team, basically saying, oh, they're playing away from home. Maybe that's why the style of football doesn't look good. They have not been good. For how many games have we played so far? 8? 6? 7? We've not looked good in any of them. The only game we actually looked good was when the kids were playing. Sorry.
No, they had 2 good halves. They were good in the second half against Orlando, and they were good again in the first half against DC United. And that is 2 out of, 12, 14 halves so far?
Orlando, who can't even beat...
Yeah, I know. Orlando's terrible. Here's what I will say. This pregame show, earlier today, and for those that watched it, you'll know, I repeated the line. Doesn't matter, just win the game. Doesn't matter, just win the game.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter, just win the game. If we had done what we would have normally done, which is talk about how vulnerable this formation is, how they have to come out with an attacking identity, how they have to get 2+ goals early in the game in order to see this out, that they should not get comfortable with 1 goal. All of the things that we should have said and that we would have said if this was any other situation, and it wasn't just get behind the boys, just get behind the boys, just get behind the boys because we want to just get through. They all came to fruition. And by the way, not to just say that in hindsight is 2020. Like, we say this every pregame, except for this one, because none of it matters if you go through. But because you don't go through, and because you look like that, it is 100% your fault. And again, like, Nashville, I think is better than what they showed over the last 2 games.
Absolutely.
They got through because Inter Miami was bad, but I think they are better than that. I think they can do well in this tournament. Like, it's not a shot at Nashville. It's just they weren't firing in all cylinders and you just ran to a buzzsaw. You played bad, or played scared, I think is the better way to put it, and you lost. And that's exactly what happened last year. And it's such a loser's mentality, man. It's such a loser's mentality. And so it shouldn't be a surprise when you lose. Patrick says, at the 65th minute, it was clear as day that Inter Miami needed changes. The players looked gassed. They were making mistakes. And I said, if Mascherano doesn't make changes, they'll concede. Can I just respond by saying that actually the problem was when Mascherano made a change 5 minutes before that, it was to put Silvetti on and take Segovia off. And that is the moment when they start looking gassed because the midfield has to cover way more ground. And they start turning the ball over a lot because they don't have an extra man in the midfield to help them keep possession. What you're seeing is actually what happened after they made a substitution. Yes, they also needed to bring on new legs at that point, but like that was all caused because he took off Segovia and he put on Silvetti. And the fact that it was a planned sub, like it came right at the 60th minute, it was a planned substitution. The fact that there was no reading of the game, there was no reason for that substitution, there was no reason to do that. And he wasn't even trying anything. It was clearly a planned sub. And it ruined the game.
Man,
and it ruined the tournament.
I feel so dumb, dude. We're so dumb, man. We convince ourselves, we talk these big, heavy words, we use all these fancy descriptions, we try to analyze, we try to use tactics, we try to make sense of things. We're like, oh yeah, defensively we're shaping in this way, we're playing like 4-4-2, we're playing this 4-3-3, we should play with a false 9. Dude, we were just utterly shite, man. We were just utterly shite. That's what it was. As simple as that.
I want to be clear though. I don't think they played bad. I think their strategy was bad.
Yeah.
Like I think they did what they were supposed to be doing on the field.
We're doing it again. We're justifying it. We're doing it again.
But this has been the problem all season, right? Like
It really has, yeah.
all of that intricate passing along the back, trying to waste minutes and forcing Nashville to come forward. Like that was the game plan. Like, I get people complain about passing backwards all the time, but that was the game plan. That's what Mascherano wanted them to do. He wanted them to waste time, suck Nashville in, and then just hit over the top and hope you get an Allende goal to make it 2-0. That was the plan. And by the way, in doing that, I actually thought they did it really well for like 65 minutes, which just goes to show you that even when you're doing it well, it is a stupid strategy to do from the 10th minute on. I can't believe that was the plan. It was such a loser's mentality. I'm trying so hard not to curse, but it is.
I'll give you this one.
No,
just
I don't.
one.
I don't. No. I don't need to. But like I want to because it's so stupid.
I really want to, man. I really want to. Ugh. I slept at 2 a.m. last night, man. I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. This was so bad. It's so bad.
I was so excited to watch this Philadelphia Club America game.
Same.
Waste of time. I was so excited to watch San Diego try and pull off the upset against Toluca. It's not going to happen anymore. I can't believe this. This is so predictable and so bad. And I don't understand how the people that are there every day aren't realizing how predictably bad this would end up. They just expect Messi to bail them out. And by the way, he had a fantastic goal, and you've mentioned this a couple times. There's only Messi could score that goal. That was a fantastic
Messi,
goal.
Man. How did he even get it in from there? Oh.
Do you try and get out of this project if you're Miami and reset?
Too late, man. How do you do that?
No. Well, you try and sell Berterame, and you try and sell some players so you can free up
Now?
some allocation money. No, in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
And
in the summer.
Like, I think
I think that's the plan anyways.
I think you might want to reset.
Yeah. I think that may be the plan anyway, so won't be surprised.
They have no allocation money. They have no flexibility right now. They can't
They've
even
got
buy
no
an
room
international
left.
roster
Yeah.
slot.
No.
So like
If they continue to look this bad, which I don't see how this is going to improve, I think they're definitely going to hit the reset.
Because if you don't, then it's over with Messi. The project's done.
Like, what are the solutions? You bench Berterame, who's your DP, then you'll have to sell him, right? Like, you can't just keeping him on the bench.
You don't bench him anymore.
Exactly.
You don't bench him anymore. The benching him idea was just to get through this game. Now that you've lost this game, he's going to play 90 minutes every game. And he should. And by the way, like, he is a $15 million striker. Now, it's his responsibility to figure it out. This game, it was Mascherano's responsibility to bench him because he doesn't have it. But now that the games don't matter nearly as much, it is Berterame's responsibility to figure it out. And as you mentioned a couple episodes ago, like, when do you start getting nervous about Berterame? You said 5 games. That was 3 games ago. So now there's 2 games left before you get nervous about Berterame. Like, and I feel bad for Berterame because the move is now a failure, and it is so unfair to judge him on that. It is so unfair to judge him on that. But that's what it was from the minute it happened, and Inter Miami put him in that position. So, like, it is what it is. I hope he turns around and scores 30 goals and wins this MLS Cup. But, like, we're going to watch superstars come to the MLS after the World Cup, and we're going to think, man, we could have gotten any single one of them. And we didn't because we signed Berterame. By the way, same thing for Tadeo Allende, by the way. Like, he is always going to be remembered in Miami, but he probably wasn't good enough during the regular season last year to justify bringing him back for what they did. That was based on the playoffs. And the reason you do that is because you want him to be fit and firing to help you win this tournament. If it wasn't for this tournament, like, I'm not sure they would have made the same decision. Dane St. Clair came for this tournament. I think you kept Segovia for this tournament. Like, I think Segovia had offers to go, and you made sure you kept him because you wanted to play him in this tournament. Now, granted, I'm happy they kept Segovia. I love Segovia, but like, so many decisions were made for this tournament that it's like, man, you do have to reset it. And I want to be clear, like, they did reset last summer. It was not looking good. They get kicked out of CONCACAF. They were in terrible form, and they had to reset the whole thing. And then they did get Rodrigo de Paul, and they kind of reset the whole project. They had some big names move on. And I know we would love to have Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets on the field tonight, but like at this time last year, we were thinking they were still going to be a part of this team, and it was going to be the same Suarez, Busquets, Alba, Messi team, and they found a way to pivot. So it doesn't mean they can't, and it doesn't mean this project won't come together, but it just feels like this is such a failure, and it feels like it's going to haunt these guys for a while. And then, again, to your point, like it does feel like it gets very much less serious now. And so where do they respond? Like, what does response even look like?
But like, it doesn't even matter as much anymore whether they build the perfect roster or whatever. Like, yeah, you win the MLS Cup maybe again, sure. I don't think that's possible. I don't think we're going to. Well, maybe Leagues Cup, yeah, but like right now, all of it just feels moot. It doesn't feel. This was it, man. This was it. Oh, and if an MLS team wins the CONCACAF Champions Cup, dude, honestly, kudos to them because they would have shown in Miami how it's truly done.
I will also add, I thought last year was their best chance. Like to this moment, I still think last year's roster was better than this year's roster. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And you wasted your two
our
best
expectations
chances.
will change as well, though,
but these
right?
were our two best chances. I thought last year was a better chance. These were our two best chances. And you wasted both of them because Javier Mascherano is your coach.
Oh, well.
Kreese says 0 urgency when up 1-0, trying to coast to a win when Nashville was clearly waiting to get a late goal and go through. Terrible. Yeah, it's just such a loser's mentality. EMZ says Inter Miami's bad in the rain. Uso says he thinks playing a defensive Mascherano thinks, don't want to put this on Uso. Mascherano thinks playing a defensive tactic will win him games week in and week out. It's so pathetic. And this is my point, and I don't know if I've illustrated or like vocalized this the way I would like to, but when you have a project based around Lionel Messi, who doesn't defend, like, and that's fine, he's Lionel Messi. The point is, you score 5 goals every single game, and you try to score 5 goals every single game. And by the way, every time Jorge Mas is asked about this, he says, we're going to score a lot of goals. That's even Jorge Mas says that. Like, everyone knows this, except seemingly Javier Mascherano. He's the only person in this project that is not obsessed with winning every game 5-0. And it is costing this team trophies. And it's the Supporter Shield last year. It's the Leagues Cup last year. It's definitely the CONCACAF Champions Cup last year. And it's now the CONCACAF Champions Cup this year. And by the way, guess what they have to do in 2 weeks? They have to go open a new stadium. Guess how much less hype that's going to be now? Imagine the second game in that stadium ever played, or maybe the third game, was a CONCACAF Champions Cup against Club America. Like, imagine how awesome that would have been. And what a great way to start kick off your new season. And now it's like, I hope Santi Morales is in the starting lineup for that game. And that's not a shot at Santi Morales, but it's like, it's okay. Like, play the kids, give them an opportunity to grow, so you have a deeper team and a deeper bench as you get into the later parts of the season, and you try and salvage this season. But yeah,
we scored 7 goals in 6 games.
With Lionel Messi,
We've scored 7 goals in 6 games. This was a team that scored 80 goals in the MLS season last year. That in itself is symptomatic. Like, that just represents exactly how we're playing. 7 goals in 6 games. That's dire. And the thing is, I recognize that we may be sounding so stupid because we've been trying to defend, justify, analyze, and all of that. But honestly, I now realize a lot of it has been a coping mechanism, because if we'd gone through tonight, we could have been like, okay, fine. Like, okay, one more game. One more game. All of it has been a coping mechanism. But now that it's like the veil has lifted off our eyes. And now that you actually look at how we've been performing over the last 7 games.
No, it's not just that. It's like, if they just understood they have to play a 4-3-3, then we would be fine. And it's like, we're thinking to ourselves, man, if they just survive, they'll figure out that they have to go to a 4-3-3. And you're right. They aren't going to they were never going to change. So you like I think what you're trying to say is, even if they had won today, we would have just played the same way the next game and we would have lost at that point, or maybe we would have gotten lucky and gone to the next point. But it's like, it was never going to change until they failed.
The mirage would have shattered at some point. It would have. It had to.
I think you're right.
And they needed a shock to the system to change anything. But even now, I don't think Javier Mascherano changes anything. What does he change?
What do you want to see him change?
Him?
Two jobs.
Yeah. Change jobs, man.
No, I think this was such a bad, pitiful display of understanding of the moment, that he's back on the Mascherano is on the hot seat again. I think you lost the MLS Cup goodwill by losing in the first round in a pathetic way to Nashville in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And if you're the ownership, man, think about how much money you spent for these games, for this. It's not just the $15 million they spent on Berterame. They spent $17 million
for 2 games.
No, it's not just $15 million. They spent $5 million on Allende.
Yeah.
They spent $17 million on Rodrigo de Paul. They spent they spent $2 million on David Ajala. They were spending money like crazy for this tournament, and you blew it in a pitiful way. It's just a pitiful way.
They could have rock, paper, scissors it, That's what they could have done. Saved them a bunch of money. Oh, football, man. Bloody hell.
Tavaquito says Mash has no clue how to unlock this team, and he had the blueprint by accident last year during the playoffs. Can I just say, he had the blueprint last year, even if it was by accident, and he threw it away going into this season. We haven't seen the setup we had to win the MLS Cup is eminently repeatable with this roster. Eminently repeatable. And we haven't seen it yet.
It's like somebody came up to Javier Mascherano, told him that you need to bet on 7 red and you will win $100 million guaranteed. Here's the cheat sheet. Do exactly this and you will get through it. And then he goes and bets on 7 black because he just can't seem to want to win. He had the blueprint in front of him. He had the whole plan, the whole tactics, everything. All he had to do was just replicate what he did in the playoffs. And no, he tore that sheet up, put it in the bin, set fire to it, and then ate it for breakfast the next morning.
Miami King says Lujan played pretty well. Actually, the scary thing is I thought a lot of our players actually played fine. I thought Rodrigo de Paul and Yannick Bright were really good up until Yannick Bright's moment, and ruins his game, no doubt. That's not a defense, but I thought the way they were executing the game plan was really effective, and I thought the Segovia substitution just completely made that game plan impossible to play out. And it's not a surprise that Nashville ends up breaking through. And Yannick Bright's going to get the blame for it, and he will deserve it because it was a terrible moment. But Nashville had 3 or 4 opportunities in that 6 or 7 minute span, and they weren't all on Yannick Bright, and some of them could have been the winner or the loser, I guess. And Hani Mukhtar had a shot from point blank against Dane St. Clair, and if that had ended up being the goal, nothing about our conversation would change because it was the same pitiful mindset and game plan that cost him this, whether it was the bad Bright moment or not. Carlos says no Club World Cup, right? Well, they'll have to win it again next year. It's okay, just win it next year. That's the other thing that is so frustrating about Mascherano is that you get this very small moment to be great with Messi. He's going to leave at some point, and this is all going to be pulled back down to the rest of the MLS. And you're wasting it on Javier Mascherano. AJ says he was gassed.
Better job, right?
AJ says he was gassed. Bright was gassed and made a mistake 5 minutes before that too. I blame Mosh for not subbing earlier. And here's the thing: on the moment that ends up being a goal, I actually thought there was an offsides like 30 seconds before that should have given Inter Miami the ball. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because these tournaments are inflection points of what you are as a team, and Inter Miami showed their true colors. And maybe that's your point. Like Inter Miami showed us their true colors, and we kept looking at the other games and thinking, man, if only that, and maybe they're just saving it, or maybe it's home or away. But no, they showed us their true colors in this tournament, and their true colors gets them eliminated with 1 goal by Nashville.
Exactly.
JR says they might as well play the B team because this A team is ridiculous. I still think the B team was fun, even though they got a 0-0 draw. They played solid. Tunde says Messi really showed up today, scored from nothing, was pressing, several defensive contributions as well. And this is the point, and kudos to him. He had a fantastic goal. You are wasting him, and he's not going to put this effort. I would be shocked if he puts this effort forward again before the World Cup because there's no point.
And what's the point of creating this monster roster if you're not going to use the rest of the players and still rely on Messi to bail you out every single time, even when you're 1-0 up?
Pepto says, I think I figured it out. Mascherano thinks the goals only come from attackers. Honestly, maybe. Sean says Saur is disassociating. Pepto says,
My brain can't keep up with this, man.
We look so good with Reguilón. It's so sad. Again, though, I like, yes, and maybe they do score a second goal with Reguilón, but it's the same conversation. It's just papering over the cracks.
And he shouldn't have started the game. You said it. You said it at the start. You said it last week as well. You shouldn't have started.
No, but actually, he played well, and
yeah, absolutely.
But by the way, so did Noah.
Protect your players, though, right?
Yeah, well, that's the big thing is if he had 30 minutes in him, it should have been the final 30 minutes. And imagine if we had him in the final 30 minutes to come on fresh, right? It's just... Sorry, I'm just running through the chats and want to make sure we get to everyone. We're going to do a full game breakdown, which will probably be more of us talking big picture stuff and giving out awards. But user says, and does this mean we start Rocco? They're not going to start Rocco. And in fact, there's even less incentive to start Rocco now because the whole point was to win this tournament. And now that this tournament's not, the urgency to make things great for this tournament's not there, I don't think you'll see Rocco again until the World Cup. Tony says could have got Baribo for much less than that, spending $15 million on Berterame. I will just say that also would have been terrible. I think the question is not Ty Baribo. The question is, I don't know, Mo Salah, right? There's going to be world class players that are coming to the MLS after this World Cup, and Inter Miami would have been first in line for all of them, and they're not going to be able to get any of them now because they don't have the DP spot.
Okay. There's just going to be so much negativity now because of all the decisions. Deserve it. Absolutely. And you could have justified all your decisions if you had done well in this tournament, but not even getting past the first round is a damning indictment of where we are as a club right now. Having won the MLS Cup last year, 6 months ago.
Can we just specify blame though? Because I actually think the ownership was right to say this is our big one. We're going to pull every lever. And maybe it's not exactly what I would have done because I would have, I'm much more in the mindset of give yourself the best chance to win everything forever and don't, shoot your bullet early. But I don't blame them for doing this. I can never blame ambition. Yeah.
I can't.
The problem is the ambition didn't follow the team onto the field. This was not maybe that's the best way to put this. The ownership has done so much to get the roster in a great spot, and it is. And I know we're going to blame Berterame or Yannick Bright or whoever, Facundo, whoever. And it's actually these guys are all superstars, Oh, not superstars. They're all really high quality, and
Stars.
some of them are superstars. And they never play better than the sum of their parts, and they play scared, and they come out in sort of
Clueless.
tempered ways, and they don't know how to scheme up offense or scheme up defense. They just rely on superstar personnel to get them through, and because the personnel is so fantastic, it works a lot. But if you had a real coach, you could win everything. You really could. That's how good this roster is. So, any final thoughts?
Nah, man. I think we've said enough, done enough. Apologies if this wasn't what you were looking for, guys. I know we've been all over the place, scatterbrained, ranting left, right, and center. It's been off, but I think it reflects everyone's mood. So thank you for sticking around with us. And as always, we'll be back. More games to come. There'll be a little bit of a break after this with the international break after this weekend. So that's going to give us some time to reflect. A lot of filler episodes, which I think will be nice to get our minds off things. But at the end of the day, it's just a sport, right? Sometimes it makes you feel great, and sometimes it makes you feel really, really poor. But it's just a sport. Life moves on. As simple as that. We'll be fine.
Okay, guys, you know what it is, dude? This is it. This is the type of result that makes you want to not think about Inter Miami for the next 2 weeks. And because we do this, and because we do everything we do, we kind of have to. And not that we don't enjoy it 99% of the time, but it's like, man, it feels like we're either raising the alarm flag for all the problems and no one's responding, or whatever, shouting into the distance. But actually, I think this was very therapeutic, and I am very glad that we got some of our thoughts out. And also, I'm sure my girlfriend's very glad that I'm not just yelling at the wall all my thoughts on this game and how dumb Mascherano is, because I don't know, she would have thought I was crazy. Okay, guys, we'll end it there. I hope you guys.
I'm pretty sure she still thinks the same. It's okay. We spent 56 minutes talking about how one man's decision has ruined our entire lives. We're all stupid. We're all stupid for following this sport. Okay, it doesn't make us any less crazy. We're all stupid.
Funny. When I was a kid, I was a sports fan. Whenever my team would lose, my dad would come, like, the way he said he had like a way to make me feel better was like, let's say your favorite football team losing. He used to go up to me and be like, football is kind of a dumb sport anyways, right? Just like makes you laugh, and it just like makes you remember it's just a sport. But man, this one's gonna hurt for a while for the Inter Miami fan inside of us. Okay, guys, have a lovely night, and we will see you guys not tomorrow, but probably Friday for some more general thoughts on this tournament run, and we'll give out some awards and all that stuff. But
maybe more therapy if we need it still.
Probably more therapy. Yeah. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this, and have a wonderful day.